Hello everyone, it's Hannah here from Virtually Fluent. Today we are going to look at two really important verbs. These are make and do in English. Now, these are relatively easy verbs for native English speakers to use. The difficulty is that when they are both translated into other languages, they both tend to translate to exactly the same word, which means it can be really difficult for English learners to decide which one to use. Is it make or is it do? Today, we're going to run through the very specific definitions of both of these verbs and exactly how to use them in English conversation. So as I mentioned at the beginning of today's video, the verbs make and do essentially mean exactly the same thing. We're talking about a process. We're talking about an action. They are both verbs. When we use the verb to make, we tend to be creating something new. We tend to change the form of the materials. Take the example to make a cake. A cake starts out as lots of simple ingredients. Eggs, flour, sugar, and then we mix them together and we create something new. For that reason, we're going to use make and not do, to make a cake. Do, on the other hand, has a focus on completing a physical task. It is almost a synonym for the verb to complete. For example, to do my homework, to complete my homework, not to make my homework. So the main difference is that during the process, during the action, the verbs focus on different things. Make focuses on the action, the process, whilst do focuses on the outcome, the end result. Having said that, there are lots of collocations and very general situations when we would tend to use make or we would tend to use do. Let's have a look at some of those typical situations with the verb make. When we talk about preparing meals, any kind of food or drink, we would use make. To make breakfast, to make a cake, to make a cup of tea or coffee. When we talk about money, it's also make. To make a profit, to make a payment, to make money. Anything connected to sound is also make. To make a noise, to make a sound, to make a suggestion, to make a speech. When we're talking about jokes and fun and laughter, it's also make. To make a joke, to make somebody laugh, to make fun of somebody. When we talk about mistakes, it's also make. To make a mistake, to make an error, to make a mess. When we use this structure, make somebody, plus either an adjective or a reaction, we also use make. To make somebody happy, to make somebody upset, to make somebody unwell. Anything connected to conversation and speech is also make. To make a remark, to make a comment, to make an announcement, to make an apology, to make a complaint. And finally, anything connected with organization, management, making decisions is also make. For example, to make a decision, to make an appointment, to make a plan, to make a reservation. I also want to look at the past participle form of the verb make, which is made, because we can use this in a really nice structure, made in, the same as created or constructed in, and then we can use the name of a place. For example, made in the UK, made in China. If it's a material, we would say made of silver, made of plastic. And if it was a person, we'd say made by Hannah, made by Sam. Now let's turn to the verb do. Again, we can use the verb do with lots of really specific situations. Let's take a look at some of them. The first one is work. Anything with work would use do. To do a job, to do some work, to do my homework, to do administration, to do an exam, to do a course. Any kind of household chores are also do. To do the housework, to do the hoovering, to do the laundry, to do the cleaning. Anything with appearance and body care is also do. To do my nails, to do my hair, to do my makeup. When we talk about physical activities, it's also do. To do exercise, to do sports. And you might know that also verbs that are individual and don't really require any equipment would also use do. to do athletics, to do aerobics, to do yoga. When we talk about journeys and trips, again, we use do to do a trip, to do an excursion. When we use any kind of form of the words good, bad, right, or wrong in their adjectives, adverb forms, then again we use do. To do well, to do badly, to do my best, to do damage, to do harm. When we have the word thing, then again we use do to do something, anything, nothing, everything. So as you can see, loads of general situations we would use make or do, and sometimes we just have this list of typical collocations where we can't really explain why we're using make or do, you simply need to learn them. For example, we would say to make an escape. It doesn't really have to do with anything that we've talked about today, but we use make, not do. And again, to do a favor, it's something good for somebody. Again, not really connected to what we've said today, but we must simply learn them. And we do have a very long list of the most typical collocations in our Make and Do course. This is completely free. You don't even need to register to access it. You can simply access all the materials right away. I've left the link to that in the description below. Now, one really important phrase, or two phrases, I want to draw your attention to is the word time. Because when we say to make time or to do time, they actually have completely different meanings. To make time means to create more availability, to create more free time. For example, I must make more time to study English. Now, do time actually means to spend time in prison, normally because you've done something illegal. That's why you're in prison. For example, my brother is doing time for robbery. So be really careful with differences between make time and do time, totally different. If you learned something new in today's video, go ahead and give us a like. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn bell notifications on so you know exactly when I've released a new video for my YouTube channel to really help you improve your English and expand your English vocabulary, pronunciation and grammar. And we are not just on YouTube. You can find me across loads of different social media channels. I've left all those links in the description below. This is Hannah from Virtually Fluent, bringing English to life.